Hey, BecomingMe.TV, Emily Cummins here, and right now we're in a series called From a Guy's Perspective, answering questions from a guy's perspective, as it helps us become who God made us to be. Now, today's question is chivalry dead? And I'm excited for you to hear from my friend Clark Reinhardt as he shares his perspective on this question.
Hey everybody, I'm Clark Reinhardt and I live here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I've been friends with Emily for quite a while and have been a fan of BecomingMe.TV. I'm really excited to share with you some thoughts about chivalry and why it is not dead. Alright, so the question is chivalry dead? And actually, it's a funny question, right? I live in the South where people are generally friendly and open doors for you. They'll open up car doors and shut car doors, and you see that kind of stuff around town. I grew up in Miami where that really wasn't a huge part of the culture down there in South Florida. And I've always really liked that, mostly because I think it's really important and it shows a lot about how we treat people. And at its very core, I think that's really what chivalry is. Now, I know that sometimes that can be connected to just like a guy thing. But I think it's actually a person thing. How we treat people is incredibly important, especially as people of faith. And I think that chivalry and the way in which we show that love to other people, whether that's something that seems as silly as opening a door or shutting a door or just saying hello, is really, really important. The first verse that really comes to my mind when I think about caring for people is really the verse in Galatians that talks about the fruit of the Spirit. It says the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. And all of those things represent the Spirit. And if we're people of faith and we have the Spirit inside of us, we ought to reflect those characteristics. Now, when I'm honest, I don't do all of those things very well. Right now, as we record this, my buddy is laughing because he knows, probably just like I do, that the one that sticks out the most to me, that I really, really, really don't do well, is patience. And I've always actually hated that patience is a part of the fruit of the Spirit because I have about that much. And I've tried to grow in this way, tried to really expand who I am in terms of being patient with people because, again, it reflects how we think about people and how we treat people day in and day out. And coming back to the question, again, of chivalry, I think that both guys and girls ought to care for each other in that type of way. Now, when you think about a code of how you live, which as you look up, maybe do a Google search on chivalry, you'll see that some kind of knight code from back in the day. I think from a guy's perspective, my hope, especially as a Christian, is to always be a gentleman. In particular to my wife, Laura, if you're watching this, I love you, and I'm really, really sorry that I don't always do this well, but I want to do a better job. Even after 5 years of being married, I know that I could always do a better job of that. But I want to do those kind of things for you. And guys who are out there watching this, it's a simple gesture to just say what you mean. That's chivalrous. To be frank about the way in which you think about someone or how you feel about them. If that's someone who you have an interest in romantically, tell them. If that's someone who you really just care a lot about, who's a friend, who's very, very close to you, maybe there's a moment where you can say, hey, you really mean a lot to me. That's chivalrous. That's a code that we can live by and something that we can share with one another each and every day. I used to do the kind of opening the car door for my wife really back when we were dating a lot. Even sharing this video, I just am like goofing out because it's sad to think about how often I used to do those kinds of things. And then the rhythms, the busyness, the chaos of everyday life. And honestly, just the self-centeredness that I have, focusing on my own stuff, even just thinking my own mind about a lot of different things. I forget to do that. Maybe you do it at church on a Sunday, that's great because that's a moment where you're like, gosh, I should do this. But each and every day, we have these small opportunities to really touch people's lives. And I think that's a way that we can show God's love to each other and really do that in a way that is super meaningful and intentional. And so chivalry is not dead by any means. But ladies, you have a place in this too. We love to be cared for as well as guys. I'm a softie. My friends give me a hard time about that, but I love it. I love it when Laura, my wife, steps out and does something that she knows means a lot to me. And in that way, she has a code that she lives by that is, like I said, inherently chivalrous, even though she's not a guy, as stereotypical as that is. And so she went out of her way, and I actually wore this shirt for a particular reason because she got this for me this week. As we think about relationships in particular, that's what I used to think about chivalry a lot when I was thinking about dating or being in a relationship with a girl and how I wanted to treat her. But as we finish this up, ladies, if you're watching this on BecomingMe.tv, don't settle. If a guy's not treating you right, but he's showing you some interest, but he's not the kind of guy who's going out of his way to do things that are intentional for you, to show you that you are a child of God, created in God's very image, that you are loved by the God of the universe who created everything that we see, that you have inherent value because you are you. Don't settle for that guy. Don't just walk into that relationship. Or if he just starts... this gnat is killing me. If he just starts that way to get your attention, to set that hook in some ways, but doesn't follow through, if you don't see that his character is one that really is showing you a bit more of God's character because he's created in God's image too, then maybe there's a point to ask some friends, hey, do you see this as well? Like, can you speak into this part of my life? Because we need the village, we need the community to come around us, especially in relationships, and say, hey, Joe Schmo isn't treating you very well. And that's not cool, that's not okay. Maybe it's the time to walk away from that relationship. Or hey, don't go down that path of being in a relationship with that person because they're not gonna treat you the way that you should be treated. Again, that verse from Galatians comes back up. The character and the quality of the Spirit of God that lives inside each one of us who has faith. It's love, it's joy, it's peace, it's patience, it's kindness, it's goodness, it's gentleness, it's faithfulness, and it's self-control. These are the things that as guys and girls we're looking to convey to our friends, to the ones we love, romantically and otherwise. Those are the things that we need to hold on to. And so as a guy and a husband and a father, I want to reflect those things in every way that I can. And when I fall short, I want to say that I'm sorry and that I would love to reflect those more and more and more and have my friends kind of hold me to that. So with that, thank you so much for letting me be a part of the channel. Emily, we love you. We're huge fans. And we're going to keep watching BecomingMe.tv, and we can't wait to hear all the comments and stories. If you want to connect, you can find me at Clark Reinhardt on Twitter or at Clark Reinhardt on Instagram. So would love to hear from you. Anybody in Raleigh, definitely reach out. Talk to you soon.